Well, good morning, Mr. McFarlane. It's a pleasure to meet you. I just want to talk to you a little bit about, well, you have the latest fall offering with the Steven Universe construction sets.
Yep.
My kids are big fans of Steven Universe, and it's a great license to get. Tell me a little bit about the line that what the first wave, second wave.
We try to apply sort of the same thought for all the toys that we do, and so I mean, obviously for Steven Universe, we're gonna try and do the same things we always do, which is, make sure you get the key characters, right? So you make a list of your key characters that get in there, and then once you've got your key characters, then given that we're not just selling figures, which is action figures, that people go, oh, I got the guy, I put them on the shelf and they're done. We're selling essentially little dioramas. So what you're selling is these moments that were in the actual show themselves. And you go, hey, do they remember this moment? Hey, did they remember this moment? Or if it's just a prop, right? Like Steven and his dad in the van, right? The van's a good, the van's a pretty fun build. And it's big, way bigger than the Scooby-Doo mobile. And then you can open it up and there's some goofy stuff in there. So besides, hopefully it's a fun build. You get to play with it when it's all done and it's cool. Then you're trying to get to making sure that you have things. I think they're equally important, which is the palette for the actual show. Because again, normally you have your primary colors. A lot of shows that are aimed at the youth have primary color, where there's this almost pastel look to the colors. Even Steven doesn't have a red shirt. I mean, it seems like it's red, and I think most people would just default to red, but it's not red, and it's not what I would call fire engine red, right? So there's a tonality to it, and I think it's interesting. There's a lot of female characters that are in there.
Yeah.
And so because we're trying to get scale, some of the characters that are in it are
Garnet and
So she's way bigger than Steven is, right?
Sure.
So I mean, it's a pretty beefy piece. So that's it, and then we'll just see whether the brand works, B, whether they like to buy it more male or female buyers, and then we'll just sort of recalculate accordingly. So it's all that's at Walmart exclusively this Christmas. So that's where you can get that. Yeah.
Awesome. And tell me a little bit about the Destiny. You obviously have the Lord Salad in there, and tell me a little bit about that, because I think that's been a big one for you guys too, right?
Yeah. Well, again, we also, 20 years, made our chops in the action figure aisle.
Sure.
And we've been doing, everything from sports to movies,
the
comic
Walking
books,
Dead stuff.
TV shows. I mean, if there's a genre, we've done it. And video games is one we've had some success with, especially, our first sort of big kick at it was with Halo. We were able to do about 5 or 6 years of that and did very well. But as time goes by, new games come in that become the new popular, one. And the last couple of years have been a couple that have sort of risen to the top, and one of them Destiny, right? I mean, this is a AAA game,
sure,
done by Activision, that just crushing it, right? My kid plays it all the time.
Mine too.
And again, it's developed by the same people who developed the Halo franchise.
Sure.
So, you go, oh, cool. We worked with those guys before, and it was just sort of biding our time to make sure that we had the patience like they were for them to finally say, okay, we'll go and let you make. We'll go and let you make it, because I knew that the South guys, nobody's going to make them as cool as us. I mean, they may pay you more money, the other guys. I get it. They may have more marketing and more shelf space, but they're not going to make it as cool, right? We'll get it nuts on for you. So they gave us that license, and we just got some of the early reads on it, and it's doing really strong for us.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about the quality, because you guys are the kind of go-to collectible action figure line, as far as I'm concerned, and a lot of people in the industry. And I noticed even on your, you have the big marquee items, and then you have even the ones that you get like in a Walgreens or whatever. The smaller, lower ticket items are still really, the quality is excellent.
Yeah.
You know, and so how do you keep that, you know, consistent? Because you can tell a McFarlane figure from another figure instantly, just looking at it out of the box. So how do you keep that, even at a lower price point? How do you keep that?
So let me say that I think we do very, very good work. I think it's what put us on the map, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our quality had to beat their quantity, which is basically the big public company, the Fortune 500. There are now a handful of companies that have taken, I believe, a page from our playbook, and that's okay. That are also doing very, very, very good work. I mean, you see it. You know, we're at the Comic-Con. You go downstairs. There's lots of cool stuff, right? I mean, my goal was always when we started 20 years ago was, you know, why toys look cooler? Why, you know? And so, my company and I got a lot of credit because we just sort of opened the Pandora's box. But now there's, you know, I think we still are the leader of it, but we have lots of good competition, which I think is great for the fans, because now they can go and get lots and lots and lots of cool. That was really the end product. I was a geek. I'm still a geek, and I just wanted to go. I can't buy these toys. They're not cool enough, and I just wanted them to buy. I wanted to buy cool stuff. So now there's lots of cool stuff that go there. How we get it? I you know, there's no science to it. I mean, it's weird. People sort of ask. You know, to me, it's like it's an odd question. Because the question I don't think is like, how do you make it look sort of good, and how do you make it look like what it's supposed to? The question should be, how did they not, when it's not right? That should be the bigger curiosity. How did they? Because they're looking at the same information and pictures and data and wireframes and everything else I'm looking at. So how do they figure out, when they're looking at all that information, to not make it look like it? I don't. That's a weirder concept than people patting me on the back for saying, "Hey, you looked at it and looked just like it." I like, okay, isn't that what we were supposed to do, right? It seems to be this magic thing that when we do it, they're like, "Oh my God, look at you! You look at how detailed it is." It's like, it's detailed because if you look at this character on screen, he's detailed. And the thing is, I was talking to big CEO of the company. We were doing a pitch for a brand, you know, maybe we'll get some of it, and he goes, well, you know, our design's a little more simple, and you're the detail guy and the hyper detail guy, and I stopped him and I went, I think you're selling yourself short on your design. Every design is detailed in my mind. If you're talking about rivets and bolts and a little bit of paint, you're talking, to me, that's a different word. In my mind, that's texture.
Sure.
Do we do texture? I think we do texture better than anybody on the planet.
Absolutely.
So, but detail, I think Homer Simpson is detailed. Here's why. His head is only so big. So you must get the specs of his head right. His hair, although he's only got one, sits at a certain spot on his head. It's not here and it's not here, it's here. And it starts at a certain spot. Doesn't start here, doesn't start here, it starts here. And so I could go through top to bottom Homer Simpson and give you 20 details that if you don't get right, it won't be Homer Simpson. It will be a reasonable facsimile, but it won't be Homer. So everything is detailed. In my artistic eye, everything, you're confusing a bunch of rivets to detail. To me, that's texture, right? So I spend the same energy and the same time on stuff like Steven Universe figure or a Five Nights at Freddy figure, or even Rick and Morty, to get those right as much as I do something like this, right? I mean, it seems, no, Todd, that can't be right. No. I mean, my sculptors have to spend a little more time sculpting this as they would, you know, maybe a South Park figure, but we still make sure and do all the measurements and all the detail and the colors and where everything lays and how many shoelaces they have and all those tattoos on basketball play. I mean, everything is detailed.
Awesome. You know, you have, you know, just kind of this diverse portfolio of things you're doing with Image and Top Cow and the McFarlane Toys. I mean, how do you keep all that, you know, what's your strategy for keeping on top of all that and making sure the quality is to your standard?
If you're going to expand, and again, remember my career started with me in a room for 12 hours. If you're going to expand, right, here's what I highly recommend. I recommend that you hire people smarter than you, more skilled than you, more talented than you. Because if you can help add leadership to people that are actually better than you, and I employ a lot of people that are better than me, they'll make you look good every single day. So let's go back. I'm a sports guy. Guy named Phil Jackson. Phil Jackson coached this team called the Chicago Bulls. I possibly the conversation went something like this: Michael, Scotty, and I don't even know the name of the rest of you guys. I need you guys to go do that basketball thing. Do it to the best of your ability. I'll be the guy in the three-piece suit, clipboard in hand, sitting on my butt over there. If you have any questions, I'll be over there, the guy with the clipboard and the three-piece suit. And at the end of 6 years, or 7 years, I guess, they won 6 championships, and they got 6 rings. Now, last time I checked, Michael Jordan has 6 rings on his finger, and Phil Jackson has 6 rings on his finger. Here's the question: how many buckets did Phil make, and how much sweat did he put on that court? None. He was just smart enough to find people that could basically take him to the promised land. And so my job is to find my Scotties and my Michael Jordans, and then you can have a clipboard and you're going to get the same number of rings. I mean, it's the magic formula, right? The hard thing is there aren't a lot of Scotties and MJ, so you got to find them.
So it seems like you still have this passion. I mean, and I think, maybe that's one of the things that, people it resonates that you're like us, you're a geek, you appreciate the stuff, you look around and go, wow, that's really cool, I like that. How do you keep that going after being in the business so long? How do you keep that
for me,
engine going?
I think there's a couple things. I think there's personality, right? I think there's just personality. I mean, I have met some pretty big people in Hollywood, right? And so I'll give you a couple names. I'm not throwing names, so I'm a big shot. I'm just saying I've met them.
Yeah.
James Cameron, Steven Spielberg. When you get them away from the apparatus, they're both 8-year-old boys. They are both still children. And it's the thing that makes them successful. Is that I go, wow, they're smart. They now have experience. They've gotten better at their craft. They have all of that, but the thing that drives it all is that they never gave up the 8-year-old boy inside. And sadly, a lot of us adults do that. And it means that at times there's a certain immaturity that goes with it. People call it arrogance or whatever words you want to give. And so I think I'm just sort of wired like them, that it's like at my core, I just feel like I'm still 8, 10 years old, and it's like, oh, that would be cool, that would be fun, how do we do it? And now as an adult, you go, oh, if we have some success and we do this business-wise, then I get to do that cool stuff, right? But you have to do it with the demurs of an adult, but it's still the cool stuff. And then the second part of it is that no matter how much business I do, it is only there for one reason: to drive the art. I am an artist, first and foremost, and then I'm a businessman second. So I say to people, I consider myself to be bilingual. I learned a second language. I was an artist, we broke away, we started a company, and then I had to learn, or I was gonna literally get suffocated and fail. I had to learn business. And so I've now learned business. Do I like it? Nah. Do I enjoy it? Nah. Every time I'm in a meeting with a banker or some government regulation, am I aware that I should be drawing? Every single second. So I just go, but it's necessary to know the business so that you can have the success, so that you can then ultimately do more art. And then you're back to being an 8-year-old boy. So if you have to put up with being an adult, which we do, then you get to come back and do it, and then you get to be a boy. So it's it's just a process, and so I don't know. The question is, how do you use the youth again? It's like why do adults? Why do adults? I read an article, and I believe it to be completely true. They go, why do adults not jump over fences anymore? I still do. Every time I jump over a fence to go get a foul ball or something, or the ball stuck in the backstop and I climb 25 feet to go get it, you know who looks at me the oddest? Other adults. Todd, what are you doing? You're a 50-year-old man. Why are you doing that? Why can't a 50-year-old man do it? And the article basically said that why can't you jump over a fence? They go, maybe now because you're older, you're out of shape, and you can't do it. But what stopped you? Why did you stop jumping over the fence and going around the fence? And they're basically saying it was you. You just thought you were too mature. You shouldn't be doing that. That's not how we act as a child. We shouldn't. And so you stopped and you went around, and eventually you atrophied so that you got out of shape, so now you can't jump it. And those of us that kept jumping, and I actually physically still jump over the fence, I still do it. I can jump over the fence as good as a 14-year-old kid because I keep doing it. And so to me, I think a lot of creative people just keep childishly jumping over fences in our heads, and then we just fake the adult part of it.
Wow, that's brilliant. Let's finish there.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Sure.
Can I get a selfie with you, and could
Let's
you
do
do
it.
this time for me?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.